two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Mark Twain. The day we are born, we appear in the world like a blank sheet of paper, carrying our first breath, our first gaze, and countless unnamed possibilities. That is the day life begins, but not necessarily the day we truly live. We grow up amid the flow of time, learning to walk, learning to stumble, learning to smile and endure. Sometimes living by inertia, by others' expectations, like a boat drifting on a current without knowing its harbor. The second day, the day we discover why we exist, is when the true light ignites in our minds. It may not be a noisy or glorious moment, but sometimes arrives very quietly, in a failure, a loss, or a moment of stillness when we face ourselves. At that point, life is no longer a chain of meaningless repetitions, but becomes a journey with direction. We understand why we endure, why we strive, and why waking up each morning is worthwhile. Like a traveler who finally finds a guiding star, we walk more steadily, even if the path remains rugged. Being born is something we do not choose, but finding the meaning of life is the responsibility and privilege of each person. When we know why, people become deeper, more tolerant, and stronger. Life, then, is no longer measured by the number of years lived, but by the depth of meaning we have found and spread. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. It does not cloak itself in the glamour of consecutive victories, but appears as a long road, bumpy with stones, where failure shows up more often than applause. Failure is not the end, but milestones that force people to pause and look deep within themselves to understand what is not right and what needs to change. Each stumble is like a scratch on metal, painful, but revealing the true nature of willpower. What makes the difference between those who move forward and those who stop is not the number of failures, but the ability to maintain enthusiasm. Enthusiasm here is not a fleeting burst of emotion, but a smoldering flame, warm enough to get us back on our feet after each fall. When we still hold excitement for the goal, people still have the motivation to try again, adjust, and keep going. Like a mountain climber in thick fog, even without seeing the peak. As long as they believe each step takes them higher, they will not turn back. A teacher, not an enemy. Success, therefore, is no longer a distant destination for the few, but a reward for those persistent and passionate enough not to give up midway. When we learn to go through failure while keeping our initial passion intact, that journey itself is a profound and proud form of success. If you can't do it well, at least make it look good. Bill Gates. It does not encourage superficiality or pretense, but reflects a very real truth. People are not always able to achieve perfection. There are times when ability is not enough. Circumstances are not favorable, or we are fumbling within our own limits. In those moments, the attitude we choose is what matters. Looking good is not just flashy appearance, but neatness, respect, and a spirit of not giving up. When we try to make everything tidy, pleasant, and aesthetic, we are sending a positive message. Even if the result is not as desired, we still value the work and the people involved. Like a painting that is not outstanding in technique, but harmoniously colored, it still makes the viewer feel the goodwill and effort of the artist. The beauty here is the bridge between shortcomings and empathy. It does not create pressure to always be the best, but encourages people to maintain a humble and refined attitude in every situation. When we cannot do it well yet, making it look good is a stepping stone. So we do not get discouraged, do not give up, and continue to learn. From the initial neatness, skills will gradually improve, and quality will rise accordingly. Ultimately, the saying reminds us that sometimes the beauty of a thing does not lie in perfect results, but in the positive spirit and respect placed in every small effort on the path to progress. The optimist stays up until midnight to see the new year in. The pessimist stays up to make sure the old year leaves. Bill, Vaughan. Both are at the intersection of time. Both hear the clock strike a new year. But human mindsets paint two completely different pictures. For the optimist, midnight is not just the boundary of dates, but a door opening to hope. They stay up to wait, to believe that ahead are new beginnings, unnamed opportunities, like a child eagerly standing before a still wrapped gift. In their eyes, the new year is like dawn after a long night, uncertain if the sun will be brilliant or gentle, but certainly light. In contrast, the pessimist stays up not to anticipate, but to confirm. They need to be sure that the old year, with its fatigue, disappointments, and hurts, has truly ended. That moment carries the color of release more than hope, like a traveler looking back at the rugged road just traveled, sighing in relief because they are no longer there. However, in that pessimism still hides a very human desire to escape sorrow, even if not yet confident enough to expect the future. Time passing is unchanging, but its meaning depends on how we receive it. When choosing optimism, we do not deny difficulties, but believe that difficulties are not the end. And that belief makes each transitional moment a motivation, helping people step into the new year, not just with a different number, but with a lighter heart and hope warm enough to keep going. Today, a reader, tomorrow, a leader. Margaret Fuller. A reader, in the deepest sense, is not just someone who reads books, but someone who knows how to listen, observe, absorb, and reflect. They read life through each page of words, read people through each story, and read themselves through reflected experiences. In the today phase, the reader is like soil, quietly absorbing rain and sun, patiently accumulating knowledge, emotions, and perspectives, even if no one sees the clear change. But that silent accumulation is the foundation for tomorrow. When knowledge is deep enough, thinking broad enough, and character solid enough, the former reader will naturally become a leader. Leadership here is not just position or power, but the ability to guide, inspire, and make responsible decisions. A good leader is often the one who has read the most, reading history to avoid repeating mistakes, reading people to understand emotions, and reading oneself to know limits as well as value. Like a river that wants to flow far must start from small streams. Today's leading role is nurtured from yesterday's learning habits. No knowledge is useless. No page is read in vain. Each reading is a silent step toward the future. When we persistently become readers of knowledge and life, we are preparing for the day we can lead others with understanding, humility, and profound vision. The more you like yourself, the less you are like anyone else, which makes you unique. Walt Disney. In a world where people are easily swept into comparison, imitation, and chasing ready-made molds, liking yourself is not self-satisfaction, but a form of courage. It is when we dare to look straight at both strengths and flaws, accepting them as indispensable pieces that make up who we are. When we are truly content with ourselves, we no longer worry too much about resembling someone else to be recognized, nor need to wear unfamiliar masks. Difference, therefore, is no longer something to hide, but becomes value. Like each leaf on the same branch has its own veins, people also carry uncopyable unique marks. When you like yourself, you allow those unique traits to appear naturally. How you think, how you feel, how you react to life. That authenticity sets you apart from the crowd, not by striving to stand out, but by calmly being yourself, not becoming a better version of someone else. Instead, it encourages us to become the most authentic version of ourselves. When you love and respect yourself, you do not lose your personality to fit in, but carry your uniqueness into the world. And that uniqueness nurtured from self-esteem and self-understanding, is what makes you irreplaceable in this life. A wise hell is better than a foolish paradise. Victor Hugo. The value of intelligence and consciousness. Hell is not simply a place of suffering, but a metaphor for harsh circumstances, full of challenges, where people are forced to think, choose, and take responsibility. Conversely, a foolish paradise is not true happiness, but a state of false security, where people are shielded from difficulties, but lose the ability to think, critique, and mature. It is where ease lulls the will, making people live in comfort, but empty. A difficult environment, but rich in awareness, allows people to understand themselves clearly, understand life's rules, and continually evolve. Like fire tempering steel, adversity accompanied by intelligence will create inner strength, while ignorant pleasure only creates dependence and stagnation. In a wise hell, people may suffer, but they know why they suffer and what they learn from it. That awakening brings true freedom. Happiness does not lie in superficial ease, but in the ability to live with consciousness and depth. It encourages people to dare face difficulties, as long as they do not lose intelligence and character. Better to live in challenges while understanding life clearly than to live in ease but blind to oneself. When people choose intelligence as their compass, even hell can become the birthplace of true meaning and value in life. We cannot help everyone, but everyone can help someone. Ronald Reagan. Each individual's strength has limits. No one is big enough to embrace the whole world. No one strong enough to erase all existing pain. But instead of discouraging people, that truth opens a humane path. Just helping one person makes the world a little different. Helping here does not have to be grand or flashy. Sometimes it is just a timely listening ear, a hand extended when someone is teetering, or a quiet, kind act without need for recognition. Like a small candle in the dark night, its light does not dispel all darkness, but enough to illuminate the path for one lost person. And when many candles are lit together, the darkness naturally recedes further. It liberates from the feeling of helplessness before problems too large. We do not need to become heroes to live usefully. Just be a person who cares. When each person chooses to help someone within their ability, kindness will no longer be an abstract concept, but become a chain of small but continuous actions, connecting people to people. From those seemingly small things, society is woven with empathy, and life becomes lighter, warmer, for both the giver and the receiver. The happiest people, whether king or peasant, are those who find peace in their own home. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Amid familiar measures of success, like power, status, or wealth, the saying quietly poses another measure, more silent but more enduring: peace when returning home. A king may hold vast lands, a peasant may own only a small field, but when the door of the home closes, all titles outside vanish. Only the person remains with very primal needs: to be oneself, to be safe, to be loved. Home is not just shelter from rain and sun, but a spiritual space where the heart rests after life's impacts. There, people do not need to strain to prove themselves, do not have to wear masks to fit social expectations. A simple meal, a warm light, a sigh that is heard, is enough to soothe the deepest fatigue. Like a boat that needs a harbor, no matter how far it goes, people, no matter how strong, need a place to anchor their soul. Happiness is no longer a distant destination for the few, but a state reachable in everyday life. When a person finds peace in their own home, they are no longer swept into comparisons of more or less, not pushed by endless ambitions. Whether king or peasant, that person possesses a silent treasure, fullness in the soul, and that fullness is the most solid foundation for a long-lasting, happy life. One of the most tragic things I know about human nature is that all of us tend to put off living. We are all dreaming of some magical rose garden over the horizon, instead of enjoying the roses that are blooming outside our windows today. Dale Carnegie. Living and waiting more than living in the present. We often paint in our minds a magical rose garden over the horizon, where everything is perfect, where happiness will be complete when we achieve something. More success, more wealth, more stability, or at the right time. Because of that, the present becomes a temporary path, just to pass through, not to feel. The tragedy is that, while fixated on that imagined future, we unwittingly turn our backs on the roses blooming right outside our life's window. It could be a peaceful morning, someone still by our side, a small opportunity waiting to be seized, or simply the feeling of living fully in this moment, like a traveler forever looking at the map and forgetting to admire the roadside scenery. People trade the vibrancy of the present for a vague promise of tomorrow. The future, no matter how beautiful, is only built from present moments. If today is undervalued, tomorrow will just be another today, postponed further. When we learn to pause, breathe, and gaze at the blooming roses, even if imperfect, even with thorns, life will cease to be a chain of waiting. The right to live right now. Happiness is not only at the distant horizon, but present very close in the simple things we once overlooked. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. Here, leadership does not start with giving orders, but originates from positive influence. It is an influence that is not noisy, not coercive, but strong enough to ignite in others the desire to grow. Such a person may not stand on a high podium, but each of their actions is like a seed falling into the minds of those around, quietly sprouting. Inspiring to dream more means helping others dare to envision a better version of themselves. Inspiring to learn more is rekindling the spirit of progress, making knowledge a joy rather than an obligation. Inspiring to do more is creating motivation for action, where people not only think, but dare to step forward. And highest, inspiring to become more is helping them develop both abilities and character. Like a flame that does not burn for itself alone, but spreads to other candles. A true leader illuminates the surrounding space with their own inner light. It grants leadership to anyone in any position in life. You do not need to wait to be given authority to lead. Just live decently, strive, and responsibly. Your influence has begun. When one person's actions make others want to become better, the world has changed a bit more positively. And in that silent change, leadership is no longer a title, but a way of life, where the greatest value lies in lifting others up together.